Hey YouTube, it's Jonathan. I'm here with an updated everyday kind of makeup routine. This one is a little bit more summery, and I'm actually going to be reviewing slash demoing the BareSkin from bareMinerals. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is use a little bit of my Mercier Radiance primer. I know I used this in my last everyday makeup, but I'm just obsessed with this, and the bareMinerals is a little bit more matte than I'm used to, so I like to put something definitely radiant underneath. Now onto foundation. I wear shade 3 Bare Linen from the bareMinerals BareSkin collection. This you just gotta shake up. I'm also going to be using the Perfecting Face brush from bareMinerals as well that they market with this foundation. So you just twist off the cap, since this is water-based. Oh, I just got it literally everywhere. Oh. With this foundation, the coverage is adjustable. You can kind of add just a couple more drops to give you more coverage. I'm going to be using 2 drops per section of my face, so 6 drops in total. So you just drop those on to the middle of the brush and start using circular motions and buffing it into the skin. With just 2 tiny drops, I've already gotten amazing coverage in this section of my face and on my nose. I'm just going to take 2 more drops and do the other side of my face, and then 2 more drops and do my forehead. This foundation comes in 20 shades, just like the original foundation, but the shade names are different, so I would recommend getting matched. I definitely didn't wear the shade that I thought I would wear. I thought that I would be shade 2 Bare Shell. So there's definitely a shade out there for everybody. After I have the foundation all over my face, I like to take another minute and just keep blending. The more you blend this foundation into the skin, the better it looks. So this is just the foundation straight on. I'm going to go on with the rest of my makeup so I don't look crazy, and then I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about these 2 products. Under my eyes, I'm just going to be using Neutrogena. This is their Healthy Skin 3-in-1 Concealer for Eyes, shade Buff 09. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand and dot that on with my ring finger. I also like to do a little highlighting with this concealer, so I've just added some to my chin and between my brows. And just on this little spot on my forehead and one on my cheek, I'm going to use my Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS in the shade Medium 1 Custard, and I'm just going to use my finger to blend that out. For the sake of filming, I'm just going to set my concealer. I don't normally do this day to day, but it's looking a little shiny on camera, so I'm just going to use some of these Stay Matte Not Flat from NYX. This is also shade 2 Nude. Now that I am super pale, I'm going to go in my favorite matte bronzer. You've seen this 100 times. This is the Marc Jacobs Tantric bronzer, or Omega Bronze. And I'm just going to use that on the same Real Techniques multitask brush. I'm placing that underneath my cheekbone to add just a little bit of shape to my face, but also blending the excess everywhere, just to add a little bit of color back into my skin. My favorite way to know where to apply bronzer on myself, personally, is to smile so I can see where the fattest part of my cheek is, and just kind of apply to the bottom half of that, and then blend out. Doing this technique kind of contours the face, but without making the sucky in face, which can be a little bit too harsh, especially for daytime, and in the summertime this is just a little bit more natural and bronzy. And as always, I'm just going to take that a little bit around the hairline too, just to make my forehead look a little bit smaller. On the cheeks today, I'm using something new that I just bought. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Captivating. I saw Ingrid, or Miss Glamorazzi, use this in a couple of videos, and it's just gorgeous. I'm obsessed with the peachy color, and it just looks super natural on the skin. I'm also using the same Real Techniques brush to apply that, and kind of using the same technique, tapping that onto the fattest part of my cheeks and blending outwards. The best part about this blush is the longevity. I apply this once in the morning and it is set, not going anywhere until I come home that night and wash it off my face. Last step on skin, I'm going to use a little bit of the Smashbox Halo Highlighting Wand in the shade Gold, and I'm just going to use 1 click of that, get it everywhere, and put that right on the top of my cheekbones, a little bit under the brows, center of the nose, Cupid's bow, and the chin. And I'm just going to use my finger to blend that out. I'm going to move on ahead to eyebrows quickly, and for that I'm using, this is the Bold and Beautiful kit from Anastasia. This is a little bit older. I don't think that this still exists on the market, but it's very similar to Browsings from Benefit. So first I'm starting off with the cream, and I'm just going to use my angled brush and apply that to the brows, and then I'm just going to set that with the powder. If you want to see more in depth how I do my brows, I have a whole video dedicated to that I will link here and below. Once I have the cream applied, I like to take a look in the mirror straight on and make sure my brows are very similar in shape before I set it with the powder. And once I'm happy with the adjustments I made, I just use a little bit of the powder using the same angled brush, and I set the whole brow, focusing on areas where there's not as much hair to hold the product on. Once you get your brows even, or as even as you can get them, I'm just going to move back to eyes really quickly. I don't normally do much on my eyes, but sometimes I do like a little extra subtle definition. So I'm just going to use a little brush and the bronzer that I used earlier, and put that a little bit on the outer edge of the crease and then blend it out with my finger. I'm also going to add a little bit underneath the lower lash line. For me, I normally only do this at night, and since I'm already going there, I'm just going to add a little bit of liner to the inner waterline. I'm using the MacLeod eyeshadow stick in the shade Saddle Shimmer, and I'm just going to add that into my inner waterline. The formula of this shadow stick is super waterproof, so you don't have to worry about it smudging. On my lashes, as always, I'm using my Anastasia Brow Gel in Espresso. And lastly, onto lips, I'm using what I mentioned in one of my last videos as my new favorite lip balm. This is the Cha Cha Balm from Benefit. This just adds a little bit of nudie, orangey, perfect color to the lips. It looks super natural. It never looks like I'm wearing anything, but it just makes the lips look perfect and beautiful somehow. Since I went a little bit more dramatic on the eyes, I'm actually going to add a little bit of extra bronzer to even the look out. And that is my finished look. I know I started out saying this was going to be every day, but it has kind of transformed into an evening look. But yeah, so now I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about the BareSkin foundation. The BareSkin foundation retails for $29, which I believe is a good competitive price for most high-end foundations. The other bareMinerals foundations retail for $27, so it is slightly higher priced, but I do think that with the liquid formula, you're going to get a little bit more wear out of this. My main pros for this foundation are adjustable coverage. I love that I can go anywhere from sheer to full coverage by just adjusting the amount of drops that I use. Another thing I really like about this foundation is the shade selection. There's definitely something for everybody out there, from light to dark skin tones. This foundation is oil-free, paraben-free, filler-free. It is basically just a collection of 18 really good ingredients, which is about half the ingredients in most high-end foundations. I've not found this to break me out at all. I've been using it for about 3 weeks now, and I haven't noticed any changes in my skin. The Perfecting Face brush that they sell with this retails for $28, which is pretty expensive for your average foundation brush, but with the divot in it for the liquids, I really find that it is definitely useful when you are using this foundation specifically because of the liquid formula. My only cons about the foundation are I do notice it to settle a little bit in my expression lines on my forehead and slightly around my mouth towards the very end of the day, but I haven't noticed it patching or anything like that. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this sort of evening look from me. I know it's something a little bit different. If you have any questions about anything I used or the BareSkin foundation, leave that in the comment section below. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter, both are at JonJonTalks, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Hawaiian Tropic After Sun Moisturizer. This is nice. As you can see, I've already used quite a bit of this, and I've only had it for about a week. I went to the beach recently. My friends and I all got burnt, and